a Sigma female goes quiet, she's not weak, broken, or lost. She's mastering herself. Her silence speaks the loudest language of power. There's something hauntingly powerful about a woman who doesn't seek attention. A woman who doesn't explain herself, doesn't chase approval, and doesn't crave validation. That woman is the Sigma female. While the world constantly screams for likes, comments, and recognition, she stays calm, observant, and distant, not out of arrogance, but out of strength. Her silence isn't emptiness, it's control. It's her secret weapon in a world addicted to noise. For most people, silence feels uncomfortable. They rush to fill it with meaningless words and fake confidence. But the Sigma female? She embraces silence like an old friend. She understands that silence doesn't mean the absence of thoughts. It means the presence of peace. When she doesn't respond immediately, people often assume she doesn't care. But the truth is, she's analyzing, quietly dissecting energy, motives, and unspoken truths. She listens more than she speaks because she knows words can expose what silence can protect. And when she finally does speak, her words carry undeniable weight. Next, she doesn't need validation. She's her own source of approval. Validation is the drug of the insecure. People post, talk, and brag just to hear someone say, "You're doing great." But Sigma females, they've outgrown that phase entirely. They no longer seek validation because they've learned to trust themselves completely. They don't need anyone to clap for them to know they're winning. Their satisfaction comes from inner alignment, not outer applause. This doesn't mean they're emotionless. It simply means they're centered. They value authenticity over popularity and would rather walk alone in their truth than stand surrounded by fake cheerleaders. This brings us to the power of emotional independence. One of the rarest traits of a Sigma female is her unshakable emotional independence. She's not easily manipulated, guilt-tripped, or emotionally blackmailed. She remains calm when others panic and stays grounded when others seek chaos. Why? Because silence gives her the space to think, the space to breathe. She doesn't rush to reply to every insult or explain every decision. She knows that time reveals the truth, and silence exposes lies much faster than any argument ever will. While others are busy defending themselves, she's busy building herself. That is why her silence often intimidates people, because it makes them face their own inner noise. But the world often misunderstands her silence. Most people can't handle a woman who doesn't beg for attention. They label her as cold, mysterious, or uninterested. But what they don't realize is that her silence is not distance. It is a form of self-protection. Sigma females live in a world that constantly demands exposure, yet she chooses to remain private, selective, and reserved. She values her energy preservation far more than social validation. While others talk just to be seen, she stays quiet to observe. While others argue to prove a point, she stays silent to keep her peace. And that, in itself, makes her unforgettable, because in a world full of deafening noise, silence always stands out. Her silence is also a form of self-respect. The Sigma female doesn't waste her breath where it won't be valued. She knows that not every battle deserves her energy, not every opinion deserves a reply, and not every person deserves access to her mind. Her silence says what words never could: "I don't owe you my energy." When she chooses not to argue, it is not because she lost. It is because she outgrew the need to win meaningless battles. She has mastered emotional detachment, the art of walking away without anger, just with clarity. That's the kind of silence that builds profound dignity. Let's look at the psychological strength behind her silence. Psychologically, silence is a clear sign of inner power. It takes immense self-control to not react. It takes intelligence to stay calm when you're provoked. Sigma females have trained themselves to be still in the middle of chaos. They've learned that their silence makes others reveal themselves. When you stop explaining yourself, people show you who they truly are. Her silence triggers insecurity in those who depend on constant attention. It exposes manipulation. It separates the genuine from the fake. That's why her stillness can feel like dominance, because in many ways, it is. Ultimately, silence protects her peace and her purpose. Every Sigma female guards her peace like it's a priceless treasure. She doesn't gossip, overshare, or involve herself in unnecessary drama. Why? Because peace is her currency and her energy is her wealth. When she goes silent, she's not isolating herself. She's recharging. She's reconnecting with herself, her purpose, and her intuition. In that quiet, sacred space, she finds clarity, creativity, and courage. That's where she decides her next move, not based on fleeting emotion, but on solid strategy. She doesn't need the crowd to confirm her path because her inner compass is louder than any applause. This silence also makes her mysterious and unpredictable. People often find Sigma females irresistible not because they talk the most, but because they reveal the least. Her silence creates curiosity. Her mystery commands respect. When she doesn't overshare, people naturally want to know more. When she doesn't chase, people chase her. Her unpredictability makes her magnetic, but she isn't playing games. She's just genuinely detached from superficial validation. And that detachment gives her an aura that's both intimidating and enchanting. She doesn't compete for attention. She makes attention compete for her. Her silence also sharpens her intuition. Sigma females are deeply intuitive. Their silence helps them hear what others can't. The subtle tone behind the words, the hidden energy behind the smile. They sense truth through stillness. That is why they rarely fall for manipulation. They can feel dishonesty even when it is wrapped in charm. Their silence is their radar. Their intuition is their compass. And together, they make her almost untouchable. When she's quiet, just know she's listening to everything you're not saying. In a generation obsessed with being seen, a Sigma female's silence is a form of rebellion. She's not trying to be different. She simply refuses to perform. While everyone else is desperately trying to prove themselves, she's already certain of who she is. And that's what terrifies people the most. Her certainty. She doesn't need the world to agree with her choices. Her silence clearly says, I don't need your permission to exist. And that is the ultimate power. At first, her silence might seem like distance, but if you spend enough time around a Sigma female, you'll realize it's her superpower. Silence allows her to remain unpredictable, grounded, and focused. It shields her from drama. It amplifies her presence. It gives her time to think, to plan, and to rise, while others waste their energy just explaining themselves. Every moment she's silent, she's growing stronger. She's building empires in private. She's healing without announcing it. She's evolving without needing validation. Her silence isn't absence. It's transformation. So, what's the message behind her silence? When a Sigma female goes quiet, she's not avoiding you. She's aligning with herself. She's processing, healing, and recalibrating. Her silence doesn't mean she's done. It means she's preparing. And when she finally reappears, she'll come back stronger, sharper, and more unshakably confident than before. So never mistake her silence for weakness. It's her loudest statement of strength. Because in a world where everyone is shouting for validation, the Sigma female's silence whispers the truth. I am enough. To every Sigma female watching this right now, remember, your silence is not your cage, it's your armor. You don't owe explanations to anyone who misunderstands your peace. Keep choosing silence over validation. Keep valuing your solitude over shallow approval. Because your power doesn't need to be proven. It's already felt. And those who can't handle your silence were never meant to hear your voice anyway. The Sigma female doesn't chase noise. She becomes the storm that silence creates. And that's why she'll always rise above the need for validation. If you're a Sigma female, remember, your silence is your crown. Wear it proudly. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.